video is a presentation of the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau of the United States Department of the Treasury. The Alcohol, Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, or TTB, regulates and collects the federal tax on alcohol beverages in the United States. One aspect of this regulation is the enforcement of what are known as trade practice laws and regulations, which are designed to promote a level playing field among industry members, as well as to help ensure retailer independence. This video series will explore sections of the trade practice regulations, including tied house, exclusive outlet, consignment sales, and commercial bribery. In this video, we will discuss activities that are considered commercial bribery and the rules and regulations that cover these activities. We are presenting this information to help you understand and comply with the laws and regulations that the TTB administers. This video does not establish any new or change any existing definitions, interpretations, standards, or procedures regarding those laws and regulations. Also, this presentation may be made obsolete by changes in laws and regulations. For the most current requirements, please consult the applicable laws and regulations, which are available at our website, ttb.gov. Throughout this presentation, you will see references to 27 U.S.C., which stands for Title 27 of the United States Code. This is where the trade practice laws of the Federal Alcohol Administration Act, or FAA Act, are codified. You will also see references to 27 CFR, which stands for Title 27 of the Code of Federal Regulations, which is where the federal trade practice regulations are codified. As you go through the presentation, please make note of the citations that are made to either 27 U.S.C. or 27 CFR. This is where you'll be able to find additional information and the full text of the specific law or regulation cited. Under the commercial bribery provisions, it's unlawful for an industry member to induce a trade buyer to buy its products to the exclusion of products sold by others through commercial bribery, or by giving money or gifts to an employee, officer, or representative of the trade buyer. The commercial bribery regulations are found in 27 CFR Part 10, while the law can be found in 27 U.S.C. 205C. Generally, when we refer to an industry member, we mean anyone who produces, distributes, or imports alcohol beverage products. A trade buyer can be a retailer or a wholesaler, so unlike tied house and exclusive outlet provisions discussed in other videos, the commercial bribery provisions apply to inducements from an industry member to a retailer, as well as inducements from an industry member to a wholesaler. Commercial bribery occurs when an industry member secretly pays money or gives gifts to a trade buyer's employees, officers, or representatives to induce them to purchase that industry member's products. Secretly here means without the trade buyer's knowledge. Commercial bribery also occurs when industry members openly give money, gifts, or prizes to a trade buyer's employees, officers, or representatives to induce them to purchase more product from that industry member, such as through sales contests. In other words, commercial bribery can include secret or non-secret inducements if the inducements are provided to employees, officers, or representatives of the trade buyer. Commercial bribery does not apply to gifts or payments given to the wholesale entity itself, as distinguished from its employees or representatives. While an industry member may give money or things of value to a wholesale entity, the wholesaler cannot act as a conduit or pass-through to its officers, employees, or representatives. The wholesaler will be considered a conduit if there was an agreement or understanding that the money or thing of value will be passed through, or it's obvious by the nature of the item, such as a free trip, that it will be passed through, or if the wholesaler's records don't reflect the money or item as an asset of the wholesale entity. An example of commercial bribery would be if an industry member, such as a producer, contacts a purchasing agent of a chain of restaurants and asks them to buy and sell the industry member's alcohol beverages in exchange for a weekly cash incentive of, say, $200 to the purchasing agent. The purchasing agent agrees, secretly receives the payments, and then stops buying or buys less of a competitor's product. All of this is done without the employer's knowledge. Another example of potential commercial bribery would be a sales contest where an industry member offers gifts or bonuses to a trade buyer's employees to promote sales of that industry member's products. The contest indirectly induces the trade buyer to purchase more of those products. When does a violation occur for commercial bribery? Under federal regulations, there are certain elements that must be present to prove a commercial bribery violation. First, there must be an inducement provided by the industry member in the form of money, gifts, or other things of value that were given directly or indirectly to officers, employees, or representatives of the trade buyer, which could be a wholesaler or a retailer. Second, the activities must have occurred in or had an effect upon interstate or foreign commerce. This means the excluded products were sold or offered for sale in interstate or foreign commerce, and the inducement was made in the course of interstate or foreign commerce, or the inducement substantially restrained or prevented transactions in interstate or foreign commerce, or the direct effect of the inducement was to prevent, deter, hinder, or restrict others from selling their products to trade buyers in interstate or foreign commerce. For more information about the interstate commerce element, please watch our video on the FAA Act history and background. The third element that must be present to prove a commercial bribery violation is that the inducement must have resulted in exclusion of another industry member's products. There are two parts to exclusion. Exclusion results when the inducement resulted in the trade buyer purchasing less of a competitor's product, and the practice places or has the potential to place the trade buyer's independence at risk. TTB's commercial bribery regulations detail a specific activity that has been deemed to place a trade buyer's independence at risk. This regulation can be found in 27 CFR 10.52. It involves money given to a trade buyer's employee without the trade buyer's knowledge or consent, in return for the employee agreeing to order alcohol beverages from that industry member. If you engage in this activity, exclusion exists if the trade buyer purchased less than it otherwise would have of a competitor's product. In addition, the regulations also provide criteria that are indicators that a particular practice may place trade buyer independence at risk. These criteria are codified in 27 CFR section 10.54. The fourth element that must be present to prove a commercial bribery violation applies only to practices involving malt beverages. For this element, there needs to be a state law that is similar to the federal commercial bribery statute. The state law only has to be similar, not exact, and it doesn't have to be an alcohol statute. This element does not apply to transactions involving wine and distilled spirits. For information on the similar state law element, please watch our video on the FAA Act history and background. Remember, if TTB cannot establish all of these elements, TTB cannot prove a violation of federal law. The inducement standing alone is not a federal violation. State laws may be different, so make sure that you are familiar with the laws of the states in which you operate. If you have any questions about the commercial bribery regulations or what activities might be prohibited, please send an email to tradepractices@ttb.gov. Please make sure to watch our other videos which discuss FAA Act history and background, Tide House, exclusive outlet, and consignment sales.